actually, like, objectively, like, having a vagina is kind of cool. You know?
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take it right, we can take it slow, yeah.
Welcome back to the Road to Self-Love. It's your boy Paul Fishman, self-love coach and You Do You activist, here today with my good friend, Bennett.
Hello.
Wallace.
Yes.
Goes by Ben, but I just found out that it was Bennett. I love that. And what does Bennett mean?
Little blessed one.
That you are, the little blessed one. I would love for you to introduce yourself as you would like to be known.
Yeah, my name is Gentle Ben. I am an activist in that I activate compassion in people's hearts, specifically around talking about transgender people because I am a transgender person. So that's me in a nutshell, I think.
I'd really love to know, like, the origin story of Gentle Ben.
It's dense.
Yeah.
And it's long, but I'm gonna give you the footnotes version.
Perfect.
I guess, like, the easiest way to start is, like, my earliest memory is knowing that I was a boy. I was in first grade. I was in the boys' bathroom with all my friends. And one of my friends said to me, "It's so funny that you can poop and pee at the same time." And I was really confused because I didn't understand that my body is different than other boys' bodies.
Isn't that so interesting? As children, we just kind of operate as if we're all the same.
So yeah, I very quickly, like, repressed my self-expression from a young age. By the age of 12, I was self-harming. I was using drugs and alcohol. My parents were really at a loss of how to keep me physically safe. I essentially was institutionalized from the age 14 to 18.
What did that feel like?
Really, really lonely. And simultaneously, like, I got to be more of myself in those programs than I could be at home. Like, at boarding school, 16-year-old me, you know, like, to other people, like, I had long hair, I still looked like a girl. But people could see me and they could feel me, and at boarding school, everybody called me my middle name, which is, and has always been, Wallace. It was really a period of expansion for me.
I'd love for you to elaborate more on that, like the love and the pain at the same time.
It's kind of similarly to, like, how I hold my transgender experience, if you will. Like, being trans is a uniquely challenging, isolating, confusing experience, and at the same time, it has also taught me what's important about life and connection. And so, like, that's kind of similar to the experience in boarding school. Was like, yeah, it was really hard to be separated from my family and to feel like something was wrong with me. Like, I was being punished because I was sad. And at the same time, I got to experience more of myself than I had allowed myself to experience up until that point, because I wasn't restricted by performing the version of me that was acceptable to my mom and dad.
What would you tell, like, your parents or just parents that are struggling with a child who isn't quote unquote normal? Like, what would you tell them to help them ease the pain of being in a trans body or in a body that isn't heteronormative and all that?
First of all, if your kid feels comfortable enough with you to come to you and tell you that they think that they are trans, like, the first thing that you should say is thank you for sharing that with me. But that's a testament to you as a parent that your kid can actually come to you and express a really, really deeply vulnerable truth. My parents, they weren't necessarily, like, not okay with my self-expression. They wanted to protect me from people who wouldn't be okay with my expression.
Right.
Ask them, what do you think I can do to better support you? You know, what do you need from me as your mom or your dad? To be blunt, like, I almost didn't survive being trans. I was too scared to end my own life, but really just, like, at the end of my rope.
And why was that? Why didn't you want to? Why were you at the end of your rope?
I did not want to be trans. Even when I was able to come to terms with, like, this is who I am, this is my life, it wasn't something that I felt proud of. Like, I felt deeply vulnerable that I didn't have any power over my own life. And a part of that was because I was deeply sensitive to the judgments and expectations of my family and my friends. And I don't want the fact that I'm trans to be the thing that changes people's perception of me.
Right. I just think that it's really, really cool to have you explaining your human experience, and then for us to layer on that label of trans as just a way to experience your journey.
Right. Like, I was put here to learn how to love myself through the transgender experience. And if I can do that, then I can inspire other people to also love themselves.
Now that you're here and you're really wanting to inspire people, like, what does that look like for you, and how do you see your life just expanding into this role of like showing up?
My goal for the trans community is that we all have an experience of ourselves, or we get to experience ourselves fully outside of the identification of being trans. It's an important component of self-actualization, but there's more to each of us than our gender, right? All people. Like, I was so fixated on getting through the process that once I got through it, I was like, oh wait, now I get to be myself. What does that actually mean?
So how did you start like exploring that?
So after I got top surgery, my life expanded 200%. I bought a van. I got in that van and I drove around the country for the better part of 3 years. And I was finally ready to let people see me. So I got to experience a lot of myself.
So I want to play this game with you. So I have some cards, and I would love for you to just like pull out, and we're both going to answer the question, whatever it is.
All right. What are you still trying to prove to yourself?
I'm really trying to prove myself that like I'm worthy of receiving. How about you?
I'm still trying to prove to myself that I'm ready to be a leader.
I want to do another one. Okay, do another one. That was really fun.
If you have, when was the moment you realized you weren't invincible? I'm at a loss.
I know, I'm invincible too. I don't necessarily think that I ever thought that I was like untouchable, but you know, every time that I receive negative feedback or like internet bullying or hate, like that to me like always brings me back to the human experience, which I think is kind of, you know, taking off our armor a little bit.
It was when my parents hired escorts to come pick me up and essentially kidnap me and take me to wilderness therapy. You know, so when my parents were like, we're sending you away, that was when my invincibility eroded.
We were talking about some breakthroughs that you recently had. Are you willing to share your breakthrough that you had?
I'm so willing. Trans people loving themselves is good for everybody. The first thing that happened is like I started to thank dysphoria. Like I started to be grateful for the experience that I had of gender dysphoria because it taught me who I am. It taught me who I'm supposed to become. The big moment of paradigm shifting happened at Sacred Sons, Convergence. And I was in this workshop with this guy named Kevin Walton. Shout out to Kevin Walton. He just led this incredible workshop about being the creator of your own reality. And deciding to choose how we feel about ourselves. Essentially was like my takeaway from the workshop, is that we get to decide how we feel about who we are. From that moment, like my whole life changed, like just in an instant.
You know, what does self-love mean to you?
Self-love is everything. Honoring the truth of who you are, which is I'm a magnificent, glorious, beautiful, strong, empowered, divine creator who was put here for a reason.
I think that it would be super fun to just write a song together right now. I think that we could just write a song about like being ourselves, self-love, all that jazz. When I look in the mirror and I see my reflection staring back at me, I'm so happy. Loving on my body and smiling so proud because I am me. Loving me, ooh, it's a great day to say that I am here to be me. It's a great feeling, this wonderful feeling inside of me.
And it's time to let it out. It's time to let it out. I'm gonna love myself. I'm gonna love you too. I'm gonna love Paul. I'm gonna keep singing when I don't know what to say. 'Cause I said I would sing a song with Paul about loving myself.
Today, it's time for a modulation. Wow, that was great. Top 100 hit right there. If people are jiving with your message, how do people find you? Where do they connect with you? Like all the things.
So you can find my Instagram handle is gentle.ben. My website is gentlebenmusic.com. I think those would be, from there you can find all the other ways to contact me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the road, and we'll see you next time. Bye.